Everything in existence began from a mysterious, compacted source, from oneness. And the so-called explosion or the Big Bang or the emergence of the universe is all from that same point and is never ever separate from the same point and returns back to that same point. If you reflect upon anything you experience, anything you touch or you sense, you find it's connected to infinite different levels and layers and zones of connectedness. And each one of us also has an inner connection, an outer connection, and a mental connection, and a heartfelt connection, and on and on and on. Once you have a reasonable health, reasonably clear mind, sufficient shelter, sufficient certainty about peace of tomorrow, no wars, no attacks, you would then wonder, what is it all about? And then you find that there are certain things you like, certain things you don't like, and those things you like you want to keep and maintain, and those which you don't, you are repulsed, you don't want them. So you are caught. Each one of us, once we begin awareness of awareness, we are caught in the space-time capsule where duality reigns. Everything is one of two. Up, down, wake, sleep, whether it's in consciousness, whether it's in physics or chemistry or any aspect. It's either accepting or repulsing, connecting or rejecting, complementing or opposing, on and on and on. So when you reflect, you find that all of them have emerged from the one sustained by that same force, returning eventually when that cycle of identified existence comes to an end. On and on and on. And they are not separate. Day is not separate from night. Darkness is not separate from light. Knowledge is not separate from ignorance. And so on and so on and so on. So you reach a point that said, well, what shall I do? I have reasonably healthy situation in my village, in my town, or in my people. There is good civil order and law, and we respect each other, and we are fairly well developed people in our civility. But now what? Where do you go from here? You start exploring the world, often to reach the conclusion that you are better off than many others. Every one of us is driven to be content. No option on that. Every one of us wants to be hopeful that tomorrow my life quality will be better than today. Now, what about this end of this illusion of separateness, or your life has a beginning and has an end? How do you resolve this frightening illusion? I will die. You've done all of this, you've accumulated so much useful knowledge, information, love, understanding, and then you're going to die. So how are you going to resolve that? The last few days, I think whoever came here had some benefit, enjoyed something or another. So you've been practicing contentment, to be content. Yes, I learned a lot. I now know more who I am not, because that's how it begins. What is not on, not until you find that which is and has been and will be. So the learning is continuous as such, in the zone of space and time. Never ends. There's no end to that sort of knowledge, because it relates to connectedness. What about knowledge itself? Where is the end and the beginning of knowledge itself? So here you come to the conclusion that there are two zones. One is within space and time, beginnings and end, birth and death, good and bad, acceptable, unacceptable, content and discontent. But then there is another zone from which all of these consciousnesses arise from. That's pure consciousness. That is divine consciousness, sacred consciousness, God consciousness. Give it any name you want. And each one of us have both. Each one of us have within us individuated, specific, personal, conditioned consciousness, and which gives it its sentiency or its life is supreme consciousness. So if there is a duty, if there is a job, if there is a responsibility to do in this world, is to realize the inseparability of conditioned consciousness, ever changing. I like this yesterday, but not today. The wind is more today, and. In relationship to a zone that is ever perfect, ever constant, and is not subject to any values or evaluation. This is where ultimately you begin to taste, not by reason, it's beyond reason, it's by your own soul, by your own spirit, that your quest for outer contentment was so that you get to the door which leads to cosmic contentment, infinite contentment. Contentment with no possibility for it to be other than contentment. So then you begin to have double, if you like, takes. You first look at the situation. No, it's not appropriate. It's a very windy day, very cold day, and so on. You can't open all the windows and so on. So this is relative. This is reason, rationality, using all the senses, using wisdom. Boring. It's most boring, I tell you. It will never be enough. You want something beyond wisdom, beyond it all. And that is the real you. That's your own soul. So you begin to truly have double takes. The Quran reminds us throughout there can only be dualities at every level. So one level of contentment, I did my best. I tried to tell them, I did whatever I could, and that's how it is. They accept it, they don't, that's what it is. So you are content with what you are doing, with your intention, with your attention, with your action. Then, when everything goes wrong and the whole thing is in chaos, you then see how that chaos came about. There is a perfect order within that. So you become double content. Read Surah Al-Rahman. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبُونَ. So you become content with discontentment. Perfectly all right. What is wrong with suffering? What is wrong with pain? What's wrong? Say, yes, no. Today was a day of suffering. It was wonderful. And I didn't struggle. I just saw it. I went, it's all right. Cold, hot. So not until you are content, deep down, with what others consider as discontentment. When that happens, then you have bracketed in your consciousness the infinite and the finite. The locality, you are a local person. You had a mother, you had a culture, you had a language, and the universality at the same time. 100-odd years ago, people were still very isolated, cultures, languages, religions. And of course, there were so many more people who had a bit more of a universal understanding or a bit above their immediate boundaries and borders of culture or locale. So the idea was that no, really all religions have emanated from the same source. So you had a lot of movements on that. The most prominent one was, say, the Theosophist. that all of the religions are the same. They're not the same. They're based upon different time, different culture, different climate zone, different geography, different, all of the other factors. But if you say that in essence they're all the same, yes. What they attempt is to be the same, yes. And that is to show the inseparability between the visible and the invisible. That which we call alive and that which we don't know, the nature of its life, and so on. So you have now accepted a theory or an idea that everything that is in time is a sample, is a metaphor of that which has emerged from non-time. And then the scientists also, and the advent of the quantum mechanics brings about a new language. You call it singularity, you call it other names, and so on and so on. And everybody is trying to find out what is at the end of the universe. And how is it that there can be a connection within that vastness between the unseen basic energies of entangled electrons. Equally, when you go lower, 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 smaller, smaller, we find the same thing. You come to the vastness of the subatomic world. So it becomes more and more subject of research, more and more subject of investigation, until the intelligent person realizes that in truth, vastness has no boundaries. From it, this little universe of ours have emerged. Everything is within boundaries. The speed of encircling around itself, the speed of coming into life and expanding and exploding and imploding, and. Everything follows interlinked patterns. So you realize that you are a local being. You have a biography. You have a sense of your past, where you came from, your injuries, and where you have been acknowledged and you have been loved. What is love other than connectedness? What is knowledge other than connecting cause and effect? They're all the same. They all show us that truth, reality, God, any name you like to give it, is not subject to change. It's ever there. It's camouflaged in numerous levels and layers that change. So then you question, but who are you? I can vouch that my color of skin or my this and that is traceable. I know my lineage or my ancestral thing. But how far does it go? What about 50, 100, 200 million years? What was it? The Quran reminds us that you remember all of that. هل أتى على الإنسان حين من الدهر لم يكن شيئا مذكورا. You were at that time, before time, and you are in time, and you will return back to no time. Now, you have to reconcile this within yourself. For that, you need to be with like-minded, like-hearted people. That's all. So you say, yes, we are all strangers, we are all orphans, we are all uncertain. The whole existence is based on uncertainty, but nobody can stop seeking certainty. That certainty you are seeking is in the cosmic zone, which contains every other zone. Access to it is not by study, by this or that or the other. All aspects of foundations of religions is to groom the nafs, is to contain the animal in you, is to do with conduct, is to do with ethics and morality. Why are you doing this? Why are you not giving the same to others? What? So, most practical aspects of religions is to groom the animal in us, to groom this other side, the evolved side, in order for it to be curbed. Say, now keep quiet, I want to go to the mountain. Why? Why do you want to go up? Why do you want to go to the other end of the universe or the planets or what? What are you looking for? Everyone is trapped, no matter how good is your trap. Most of them are, even the quality people who congratulate each other and so on, they are in a religious trap. It will end up again in discord. Everybody thinks their version is the best. If only they follow me. It's childish, and it will never work. And it will only bring more discord and more animosity. So what is the way out? So you may hear a wise voice. The way out is the way in. What do you mean the way in? Stop your mind. Not easy. Try. Stop your memory. Not easy. Stop your thought. Not easy. Especially those who try to practice whatever religion. So immediately when I am about to do my prayers, all my thoughts come, and it goes back and back. Of course it does. Anything exists, want to assert its existence. Simple. These are the laws of reality. This is what you need to study. If you want to study the core and the heart of the essence of Islam or Christianity or Judaism or Buddhism, you come to the same point. There are certain core issues that they have in common. And that is, in the realm of space and time, there are limitations. You can't do anything you want anytime you want. You're stupid. You want to do that which is perfect at that moment. And that is an expression of the love of peace, as-salam. Why do you love peace? Because that is the foundation from which movement emerges. Peace and stillness and quietness is the foundation from which expressions and connections, whether at sound, sight, touch, all of them emerge and subside back. Don't deny any of that. It's fun. Really, look at the beautiful apple, bite it, and look at that, and look how wonderful it is. You don't know how you're going to drift to sleep. How is it that you go to sleep? So, I want to go to sleep, I want to go to sleep. You never sleep. Really? How does it happen? And what about the millions of subtle chemical reactions within you? Are you aware of all what's going on? You will be exploded. Even if you take some of the important hormones in you, how they function, it's mind-boggling. And every one of us want to be mind-boggled. That's why you want to go to nature, for instance. Wow. Why do you want the wah? You want to get out of yourself. Because it's boring. It's a prison. This is a trap. And you increase the trap by other attachment. But yes, we hated each other from the second day, but there are children now. So for the sake of the children, that's why we are producing nations of, semi-distorted, because for the sake of the children, you're at war every minute, and you say, no, we want to bring the children up peacefully. What a lie. Who are you kidding? You have not stopped your own war, therefore it continues. And you will invariably find someone with whom that you can quarrel. There will always be a reason to quarrel. Even if they are doing the best, they're doing good work, they say no, but they are doing it to be watched and to be admired. What's wrong with that? Be admired for doing good. Make a little monument near the town house or whatever town center. They make you into a stone and put up there, and it's only good for the birds to perch and make their thing on the head. All of these foreheads, I often wonder that nobody seems to have the job of wiping the foreheads of these monuments of pigeons. It's a wonderful task. So you have a special card, you say, and what is your job? I am an international pigeon washer. You must laugh, really. Not until you are content for no reason. Not until, at will, anytime, any moment, anywhere, you touch upon a zone that is timeless. You still remain frightened. You still remain full of sorrow, full of fear, full of anger, full of grief. This is the nature of it. These are the forces that drive us all to touch that zone. The God point or the God phase or whatever. So it really doesn't matter what religion you have, what background you have, what color you have. The world now, in the last 20, 30 years, has come to a point that it is so different from where it had been 100 years ago. You must live your time. You can't fantasize how nice it would have been had I been with the Vikings. You would have been clobbered, you know. I mean, they were very, very hard people. They didn't believe in death, incidentally, you know. The berserk, the word berserk means they've gone berserk, meaning we don't know, well, there's no rationality because they did not fear death. They knew that is where real life is. After you relieve yourself from your body, there was no fear. Anyway, you are living at a wonderful time. I think this is the best day ever. And I think the same thing tomorrow if I'm still around. And I've been practicing this for many, many years. That is the best forever. So that's it. So you are content for no reason. Contentment is acceptance. Contentment is surrender. Contentment is being at one. Contentment, having faith and trust that all is well. But I don't see it because I'm looking at it with sight, with vision, with sound. But what about insight? What about the soundless communication? That's what goes on in the universe. What we are experiencing is a tiny fraction of the cosmic interconnectedness. And this is who we are. So the answer to any question you have comes back to the same point. You are both local and universal. You are human, you are divine. You are here, but not of here. You love the earth, and you are an alien. You love other human beings, and you are scared from most other human beings at the same time. So how are you going to resolve all of this until you accept the basic sketch? Each one of us has emerged from millions of years of changes and movements on this tiny earth for it to be this entity that accepted, as the Quran says, the amana. Nobody could take this treasure as in custody, as a custodian. Quran says, and this amazing gift of life, of cosmic light, was offered, this is metaphorical, to the mountains and to the earth. They could not take it. But this human being took it. Why? It means there is an aspect in us that is not 100%, if you like, rational or understanding. So say, human being took it. Took what? The divine presence in a bovine structure. However it is, it's a bit of a theater. And that's what it is. Accept it. You and I and every human being have within us an aspect that we treasure life. The most valuable thing ever is so-called your life. You'll fight for it. Your loyalty, your honesty, all of it is based on this idea, my life. It's done. God's work is completed. So you can't add or subtract from it. All what you need is to touch it, be with it, and accept it, and sing the eternal song that there is only it. Everything else is secondary, tertiary. It doesn't matter. Don't deny the peripherals. They become of high potency if you have the constant referencing to the absolute, to the perfection that is not changeable in space or time. So all of us want a contentment that doesn't change. Contentment has two sides. One side that changes, it's better atmosphere, it's nicer, it's warmer, it's more pleasant, and changeable contentment. And a contentment is by itself. Same thing is with my life. My life is frightening, it's short, it's not, I want to keep it longer. So our entire way of life is based on improving the quality of life, prolonging life, maintaining life, serving, and on and on and on. So the two sides of us. One is the human side, suddenly is shocked by this amazing treasure that this thing in me called life enables me to move my hand or bring it down. How? How does it happen? And why? Why my mood changes? I want to regulate it. How many thermostats you need to regulate your mood? Or other factors? Now, one side of contentment is discussable, relatable, talkable. So I was not well, please excuse me. So I understand, because when you are not well, the pain nags you all the time, and therefore your mind and your concern and your focus is to take away that which is disturbing you. It's again a step towards contentment. Take away my pain, take away my fear, take away my anxiety, take away my insecurity. Poor person, whoever else you see are worse than you. So you say, please come and help me. But everybody wants to help. If you really want to befriend anybody, go to anyone and say, look, I really think you can help me. I am not too well, or I need something. Everybody wants to do something. Why? Everybody wants to get out of themselves. Everyone wants to get out of themselves. Find the cause. So if you find a poor person begging, you need the beggar more than he or she needs you. You need to exercise that touch of giving. It's not yours. Where did you get your life? So not until you truly return the amana to where it came from, I don't know. But you are willing now to lay down your life. Your life is only a spark which carries all the qualities of the cosmic life itself, of God himself or herself. So the only job you have is to unify the two, because they are in truth not separate at all. But you and I have this illusion of separateness. I can do this, I cannot. Be helpless, don't do anything. Many a time just don't do anything. Just stop. Watch. There is one cosmic doer. And all other doerships draws that energy from the source of that doer. With that, you become responsible without the burden of responsibility. Nobody wants to be responsible. So please leave me alone. No, I had enough. I'm changing. No, this is my 9th wife or 11th husband or whatever. I'm still not content. On and on and on, until, of course, you lose all your teeth, you lose everything, then nothing is left. So if you concentrate on outer contentment, it never ends. Your discontentment will continue. It's a weed that will be always growing faster than before, whether you feed it or whether you don't. You need to transcend it. That's why from time immemorial we have all of these practices for thousands of years. That no, you have to stop it all. Your worldly side needs attention, needs affection, needs care. But is that all? So I'm tired of caring for myself. After years enjoying being with Krishnamurti, I decided I'm going to sit back and review what have I learned. Really, it was one sentence. Have no self-concern. It doesn't mean be negligent. It doesn't mean be careless. Overdo what you can and that's it. Stop it. No more. No exclusive, constant, perpetual self-concern. It's endless. And you are digging a deeper well that you will fall in it. So have concern for others until you find there is no others. They are the same. Then you come to the point of real high-level contentment. Because then you know whether you do it or you don't do it is the same. But you still carry on doing because you're still alive, you're taking oxygen, you're taking food, and you're not separate from humanity. Humanity is there only as the main doorway or a climbing towards divinity. And it cannot be without divinity. So you have a job to do. You have that major connection to do between the seen and the unseen. The visible, the human, the discernible, that which is subject to space and time, and that which is not. Now, come to today's world. 100 years ago, there were still quite a lot of skirmishes on borders and this and that. Now we are living at a world that most people accept respect of others. There are things like human rights. There are all the time attempts to improve on the regulations internationally, the so-called United Nations. If there is a really deep unity amongst them, is to be disunited. But these are attempts. You can't knock it all off. Improve on it. It's a process. It's work in progress. We're all perched on this tiny little earth, which is traveling 1,000 kilometers or so around itself, and far more hurtling in space, and more turning around the black hole of our galaxy. And here we're all the time saying, I want stability. You're dying. Every minute you're closer, you're hanging on air. What stability are you looking for? After air, there is water. And then comes the electronic movements and all your senses, what are you talking about? I said, no, this is a most reliable chap. What do you mean? Put his head in a fire and you see how reliable he is. Your loyalty is to life within you. Your loyalty is to the life giver. Your loyalty is to Allah, is to God. That's the truth of it. How does this arise? We have numerous, if you like, metaphors of it. And there are numerous metaphors of it in the package, in the wonderful Islamic, if you like, package of haqq, reality. There are the same different ways of demonstrating that in all other world religions. We've come to a wonderful time in the world that intelligent people realize that religion has a purpose. It's not an end. It's like a ladder, you're going up to a roof garden. I saw a person, there were about, I think, 5 or 6 stories climbing up roof garden, on a ladder, And every time he looked in the neighborhood, he thought, no, they are at a mess. The family is quarreling, messing up in the kitchen, and the poor wife running, and the husband pretending because he's got a board meeting, and what about? So eventually he reaches the garden on the roof. So he forgets about the ladder. A friend who was with him at the end calls, he said, who are you? I'm here in the garden, I can't. So religion is like that ladder. It is to deliver you somewhere. But you get fond of the ladder, so that becomes your life. And you want to impose that upon everybody else. My religion is better. If only you join us. And once you join them, you find another branch. We're not quite. And on and on and on. Anything exists will bifurcate, will grow. So no two brothers will see eye to eye. So if only, and of course you look at other religions and say, no, they are more united. It's a lie. Go there for a while and you see. And you see the other sub-branch is more united. They're really more, because they have a party now, so they're all smiling. Join them and see. It doesn't, a religion is a methodology, is a code of conduct. You are given a map that there's only the truth. And you are here alive by that truth, and you are here exploring all the wonderful, amazing changes, ups and downs within that sketch or map. Once you realize the perfection of it being has no beginning and no end, it being Haqq itself, it being God, Allah, then there is nothing more. Now you are really useful. Now you are human being. Now you are not bringing fear and anxiety and concern to others. Now you are content with apparent contentment and apparent discontentment. And you'll do the little you can. You're not separate. You can't say, I am above it. No such thing. Everybody, as human beings, you are a soul, a divine light, trapped for a while to activate matter in all its different levels for you to be truly in glorification. So these metaphors as to who you are numerous. A very beautiful one, my friend here asked yesterday if we can make few comments on it. Ayat an-Nur. Somebody read it for me. Allahu nuru samawati wal ard. Bismillah.
الله نور السماوات والأرض مثل نوره كمشكاة فيها مصباح المصباح في زجاجة الزجاجة كأنها كوكب
دري كوكب دري
كوكب دري يوقد من شجرة مباركة زيتونة لا شرقية ولا غربية يكاد زيتها يضيء ولو لم تمسسه النار نور على النور
على نور. بسم الله. Go on.
يهدي الله لنوره من يشاء ويضرب الله الأمثال للناس والله بكل شيء عليم.
It's a metaphor. It's a beautiful ayah. It says, Allah, we need to refer to the ultimate. So you have all these names, hundreds of names. Allahu Nuru Samawat, the light of heavens and earth. Meaning visible light, or with all of the other qualities of it, including the rainbow that comes and so on. And light and light and light and energies, endless. So that means everything that we discern is there as part of this light. And the metaphor of that light, it is like, there are numerous interpretations. The one I like to share with you briefly is the human reality. In that human beings are like a niche, in a corner with a lamp. It's the physical side of us, the biological side of us, the mental side of us. But it's alive because of that light, which we call life. And the metaphor continues, said, because in that region of these people in the Mediterranean, one of the most sought after foods or sustenance were olive trees. It grows by itself, it gives its fruit. That's why I think Sweden is the more spiritual country than before, because there is more olives than before. I tell you, I'm surprised. I think you're definitely more spiritualized. So the more olives in the shops. So it is what is familiar in that area. So from it comes light. You light it, you have a lamp. But it's neither of the east nor of the west. So it tries to take away our trying to peg everything, because the mind's nature is to be specific. Is it there? Is it here? Is it at night? What? It is discernment, discrimination. The nature of the mind is to discriminate, is to slot, pigeonhole. I know it, and that's why when you go on a tour, you say, well, yes, Tuesday now it must be Sarajevo, because that was the Tuesdays. We want to connect, you want to relate, you want to divide. The nature of the mind is that. so as you play your role in accommodating yourself in a better way. I understand. I know. It's nice, but it's childish. You know, then what? And you aspire not to know anything. You want to go into deep sleep. So what is all this fuss about? Knowing, rushing, finding, being with teachers, changing religion and all of that. Then what? Where are you going? Allah nuru samawati wal ard. Trust in that. Trust also in your limited ability. Trust is one of the major, if you like, sliding, if you like, take-off platforms that you can go on. Trust in that your parents did whatever they could. Trust in that the weather has its purpose to change and move. Trust in that you also still have some energy in you. You can move your hand, you can move, you can sit, you can keep quiet or say something. Trust, trust, trust. Until you're no longer the decision maker yourself. That is liberation. If there is any serious root or foundation or a seed for freedom, liberation, all of these things we talk about. You want freedom from hunger, from sickness, from political abuse, from discrimination which is unwarranted, and you want, ultimately you want freedom from you judging a situation according to your limited judgment. You want to see it through the lens of the one maker, originator. That's all. If you want to be loyal, honest, sincere, you will have one focus constantly. What would Allah say? And that is why the idea of the hereafter or akhirah, key to many world religions. And the idea of reincarnation is an aspect of it. Or all of the other things that the Abrahamic traditions have regarding the questioning and accounting after death. So if you're present right now, then whatever you do, it has your rational reasoning and it has a touch of a spark of the light itself. Yeah, I will not regret it. Bismillah. And that is why if you people question whatever you're undertaking from a higher angle, you'll suddenly find yourself, you're almost in communion with Allah. Supposing a good business comes to you. It sounds right, you've got the expertise for it, you have the enough money for it and partners for it, whatever. And then yet something else deep in your heart says, no, I don't want it. So do accept the mental processes that it's attractive thing, it's good, it's building a bigger mosque, but suddenly an inner voice tells you now, another mosque in Copenhagen, there are already 14, all quarreling with each other, is going to increase the division. So say, no thank you, I won't do it. Maybe I build an orphanage, or I build what I think you people here can do a very good job of, connect with the poorer world. You know, I've had friends here for the last 25, 30 years, whatever. And I consider them all getting old. I too. But that comes later in admittance. First you see the others are getting old. Now, where are the young people? What will they do? The young people are full of energy. And also with the diet that has improved so much here, their energy is even more. It's all super diet, super food. So they have super energy. How are they going? Where are they going to spend it? What? More music, more ballet, more what? Look here, the rest of the world is begging. You had good connection with Tanzania, with the rest of Africa. Establish a bridge so the young people will not only be given this map, they can also go and exercise it. You are divine and human. And you are Rahman and Shaitan. Inseparable. Wherever there is Rahmaniya, there is also the shadow that burns called Shaitaniya. So watch out. But you need to do that in practice. So if you establish a way of caring and sharing. It's a foundation already in existence in Tanzania and in Zanzibar and elsewhere. Quite a lot of children have been helped there and so on. But young people from here will benefit a lot if they go for 1, 2, 3 months a year to be with others. And then they come back far more content with their situation here. Really. Anybody, and as we are parents, if they complain about you and not having given them enough for the birthday or for this, send them for 6 months. Really. Serena has just come back, hasn't she? There you are. What made her want to go there and help and teach them music? It's amazing. Because see, this is local. So you want to be more, if you like, universal. It's natural. Open up this bridge. Make them come and go, and if you can integrate it part of other universities and so on, so they get a credit, it's even better. So in order to be content as a Swede, you must be with others who are not discontent, but who you can benefit in a tangible, visible manner. You want evidence. That's why we need each other. We need mirroring. You cannot survive on your own. There has to be someone else. No way out of it. There has to be a mirror, similar. So my request to you, for your own sake, is to acknowledge your locality, acknowledge the goodness of your civilization, your culture. You are ahead of most people in the world in consideration, concern, appropriateness, and justice in its own place, welfare state. But how far will it go? You do the little you can with whoever you get to know and you like and enjoy it. Especially in winter. If you are, imagine 3 months in Zanzibar a year from here, I tell you it's so you must enjoy it. You must read your situation appropriately. Read it. What I'm sharing with you now would have been foolish to even say, if it was possible at all to be said 200 years ago. This was a very poor part of the country. Nobody would have wanted it. There would be nobody even could come. There were no roads. Whatever. It was contested between Denmark and Norway and Sweden. Whatever. But look, change it. Read the situation. Read it as it is now. Especially Scandinavian countries have become, the last 20, 30, 40 years, as objects of studies in the world. How are they coping, especially lately, especially Sweden, the last couple of years, 3 years, with the influx of the refugees from the East? It's amazing. And of course there is a lot of resistance to that as well, but it's fantastic. Look at the positive side of the news. It's a wonderful world we are living in. You people can travel up, down, you can, especially the young people, they find the cheapest flights. They find the flight from here to Zanzibar probably turns out to be less than from here to London or wherever. They are resourceful, they are different people. They are digital. So really, and enjoy that. Read it, help them, be in their wake, and don't push what you had benefited from upon others. Live it. It's going to be by example, by your presence. And then you're content no matter where you are. If there are people, you're content. If there are no people, you're content. Your contentment is like your ultimate joy. Farahuna billah. Not farahuna because of victory. What victory of what? There's no such thing. There is success, and no success comes without failure. And at the end, you're going to die anyway. Are you ready? Are you cheerful about it? If you are not, then you have work to do, because your contentment is not consistent. Anyway, I enjoyed myself here. Thank you very much for inviting me. And don't do it again. It is in that I am so content that I don't see years pass by or people, honestly. How can people, most of my puzzle is how come people don't live as one with the one? Really, if there is something that shocks me and surprises me, it is that. And I'm reticent to say it because I think everybody must know. I mean, that's all what there is to know. The rest is a bit of rubbish. Where did you put this? How do you open that key? How do you do keyhole surgery? So boring stuff. It's not. Read the manual and the robot can do it better than you. Think another 50 years. If 70, 80, 90% of the industries will be robotic. This morning, or was it yesterday, we were talking to this self-manipulating grass cutter. I really thought as a friend I wanted to go and pat it. Hello. You are so nice. You don't have emotions. You don't say I hate you and I love you. Oh, no, you're wonderful. You are my friend. And you must laugh. The human being is laughable. Really, but at the same time, there is grace and wonderment in being. The world is in a much, 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 much better situation now than it has ever been. We regard each other as potentially the same. There is respect, there is that. It's work in progress. It has taken millions of years for us to reach the point we are. I am more than optimistic because I see the work in progress is coming to the point that everyone is worshipping the one and only one, doing their best without denying their culture, without denying their background, but transcending it. Don't stay all the time with the book. You are the book. Imam Ali says, alayhi salam, وَإِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْكِتَابُ الْمُنِيرُ بِآيَاتِهِ ظَهَرَ الْمُضُوءُ دَوَاؤُكَ فِيكَ. He says, your medicine is in you. And your sickness has emanated because of you. And within you lies all of what is in the universe. But you are looking somewhere else. Know that what is within you is more than enough for anything. But you have to live it. It's something that you give a sketch to someone. This is this coast around here and so on. It's something else you walk it or you drive it. It's something else that you really let go into it and almost unify with the state of the granites, with the rocks, with the water. Be one with the one. There is only one. And enjoy it. And if you can give to whoever has got less, you are fortunate. The key of all of these so-called spiritual paths is the same. Find a way to higher consciousness. How? By giving of my lower consciousness. So serve. Find someone who has got less than you. Really. Or somebody the same as you. That's what I found this grass cutter, the same as I. He's content. He was just doing it. But the point comes, says, battery is finished. Recharge. Again, I thank you all, and I thank the one and only one from whom all emerges, draws its energy, and subsides back. It's a cycle. If you don't catch the highest within that cycle, you missed an opportunity. It's not a big deal. So do what you can and be honest and laugh at the animals in you. Make sure every now and then you put them in the zoo and feed them a bit and so on. And gossip is actually taking somebody to your zoo, watching out all the animals. And this was the big viper. But this is a role as a zookeeper. You have only one responsibility, to be at one with the one, without seeing twos. For that, you need to practice that lens of seeing twos emanating from the one, returning to the one. then you are accessing local contentment, which sometimes need to be worked at. Don't eat so much, eat less, sleep more, or rest, or exercise more, whatever. And contentment by contentment itself. The Quran sums it up by saying, أَلَيْسَ اللَّهَ بِكَافٍ عَبْدًا. Isn't Allah enough for you? If that's not enough for you, where will you get the contentment from? Again, thank you very much. And don't do it again. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. Oh, yes, he wants to read. You read somewhere. Don't mind his voice, it's okay.
Pleasure of pain.
Allah.
Tearful eyes looking at newborn son placed upon breast, emerged from pain and pleasure, a new emergence, to face life's puzzles, to face unknowns, seeking to know who is who, what is what, from the mother's womb to the veil of body and mind, a journey to the illumined heart. Sides of the coin. One side reads, "Be still, joyfully, die in peace." One side reads, "Go for it, urgently, rush and push." The coin's real value is beyond any measure, a sacred treasure. Fortunate are those who ever know that.
I'm going to read the last one for you. Passion to know. The question invites the answer. Shadows prove light. Meanwhile, the seeker of truth is confused and frustrated. Cries for help, and the heart whispers, when consumed by fire, questions and answers will vanish, and perfection reveals its cosmic prevalence. Thank God for such generosity. Thank you very much again. Thank you. Bismillah.